All right, what is happening here? It is the first day, the official launch. It's August 23rd, 2022 of World Reading Club. World Reading Club. And we are going to be doing a book focus 60 days from now on October 24th, 2022. And the book that we're doing the book focus on is called Joy in Plain Sight by Katya Davidova. And there's some exciting news about that. Before we get into that, I would like to say happy birthday, Flor Elizabeth Orozco. I love you very much. 32 years old you'd be today. And this is a great way to celebrate life with this project, the World Reading Club. So one of the first things, guys, ladies, gentlemen, greetings, welcome to the room, Bobby, is I'm going to tell you guys right away just how to participate in the World Reading Club's first book focus on Joy in Plain Sight. Joy in Plain Sight is the name of the book by Katya Davidova. And it's very simple. You got to get the book, right? Because it's a book club. We're going to be reading it. You can get it from barnesandnoble.com or Amazon. I saw it on for sure. The ebook is about $6.99. And the hard copy, I know they have it on store shelves. I'm not exactly sure how much it is, but somewhere between maybe $12 or more. It could be $19. I'm not exactly sure. Probably I should know, but that's not the point. The point is get the book. And what is the World Reading Club all about? Well, I really summed it up very succinctly. And you can also take a read for yourself about what the World Reading Club is about. But it's also the reason why I decided to use Joy in Plain Sight as the book focus, and also other synchronicities that happened and why the reason I'm using it. But I started World Reading Club, which to me it was that World Reading Club. Well, here's my phrase. Right? If somebody asked me in an elevator, so what is the World Reading Club? I would say World Reading Club celebrates the joy of learning by promoting the love of literacy. All right, so let's say that again. World Reading Club celebrates the joy of learning by promoting the love of literacy. Right, so that's what we're doing. We're celebrating the joy of learning, because learning is a joy for me, or at least if you have the right people to guide you. And through the love of literacy, I love reading. I really do love reading. I love reading all kinds of things. I read things so much. I remember my older brother once, well, we were at the breakfast table eating some cereal, you know, the disgusting cereals that some of us grew up with as kids, those breakfast cereals. And I used to read the side panels of the box, the back of the box, everything I could find on the ingredients. And my brother, what are you doing? What are you reading? Why are you reading the cereal box? Ha 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 ha. Like, well, somebody wrote some words on there. It's meant for somebody to read, right? So I might as well be at least the one who does. I read everything. Looking outside, I see Velocity Urgent Care here, Hickman Place. There's a sign that says "Do not enter." The Starbucks flag waving over there says "Now open." You know, there's stuff to read everywhere. There's a stop sign. I don't know. I figured that people wrote stuff all over the place for us to read. That's just me. I could be wrong. So, what does the, let me actually, just because I'm better at this, I already wrote this a long time ago, so let me not fumble around with words trying to talk to you on site here, and just read from, if you go to HAKEYM.com, you'll find the press release for World Reading Club. It says World Reading Club Book Club launches first book focus August 23rd to October 24th, 2022 on Joy in Plain Sight by Katya Davidova, available in print and online from Barnes & Noble and elsewhere where you can get books, right? So let's take a look at it on HAKEYM.com. HAK, by the way, is for Hakeem Alexander Communications with 2 Ks, spelled with 2 Ks, like the German way, instead of 2 C's with English, because it's acronym for the first three letters of my name. And then EYM is exercising your mind. I also have that website, exercisingyourmind.com, that has lots of really great tips and life hacks for you to read to improve your life. The title of that website is called Wealth Attraction Research, where great health is the truest of all wealth. And also there's HakeemAlexander.com, which is the home site I'm transforming into Hakeem Alexander Communications, which is my marketing agency or marketing firm. Hey, let's take a vote. Should I call it marketing agency or marketing firm? Right? Is it really that important? Let's take a look at what I wrote about joy in plain sight in the first World Reading Club book focus that's launching today. Once again, happy birthday, the lovely Flora Elizabeth Carrasco. Hopefully you'll be reading a book with us. Do they have books in the afterlife? We'll see. I heard there's these things called the Akashic Records, right? All right, so here we go. Joy in Plain Sight. This is a quote, by the way. Quote, Joy in Plain Sight is a collection of stories and essays that explore the beautiful, absurd, serendipitous things that make us human. That smile from a stranger, a vibrantly blooming lemon tree, the constellations of freckles on a lover's skin. Joy in Plain Sight, stories and essays celebrating wonder in the ordinary by Katya Davidova. And again, like I said, you can get it on barnesandnobles.com. And I believe I took that excerpt from news.virginia.edu. I do know that on the blog post at hakeym.com that there is a featured image that I used that came from an interview with Katya Davidova at Virginia State. I think that's what news.virginia.edu goes to, right? Virginia State. But I'm not sure. I didn't really look that much into it. It wasn't that didn't seem to be that much of an important aspect of the World Reading Club. Let's continue. World Reading Club celebrates the joy of learning by promoting the love of literacy. This is why I think it is so very fitting that the first book focus of the World Reading Club be Joy in Plain Sight by Katya Davidova. World Reading Club launches August 23rd, 2022. That's today. Yeah. So get your copy of the book now. So you have 60 days of reading. You won't need that much time, trust me, to participate in the first book focus on October 24th, 2022. That gives you 60 days from now to start reading the book and finish it so that we can have a discussion. We're going to do it either on Callin, the Callin app, or here on Wisdom, because I'm not sure. So far, I'm checking them out. This is my third talk on Wisdom, and I'm just checking out the sound and the clarity. I haven't had much luck on the first two. When I use Callin, it seems to be much more clear, but we'll see what happens with that. So let's go on to how to participate in the first book focus by World Reading Club. All right, so the first book focus by World Reading Club, how to participate. 1, purchase a copy of Joy in Plain Sight from barnesandnoble.com and read it. You can also visit Barnes & Noble booksellers at the Grove in Los Angeles or any of their other 613 stores in the United States of America. 2, they have a lot of stores. But, you would think that I thought Barnes & Noble would have more than 600. They would have more stores. It's Mr. Chris. I thought Barnes & Nobles would have, more than 614 stores. But I like the fact that I was able to go to the Grove and get a book for one of their other 613 stores. Because, by the way, just in case you guys didn't know, my record label is called 613 Records, 613. There's also 613 seeds in a pomegranate, and reportedly 613 mitzvahs in the Jewish rabbinic law, I think. I find that kind of fascinating. Welcome to the room, Chris Cavallo. What's up? My friend Chris is here. Carolyn, she, her is here. CEO Boss. W. You guys have got some creative names here. Chris Wilson. Ishmael. And Bobby Vincenz. Is that Vincenz or Vincent? Vincenz. Where was I? World Reading Club, right? I'm going to finish this up real quick. Take number 2, like the Instagram post for World Reading Day on UniquilibriuM and comment Joy in Plain Sight and or create an account on Callin, and follow the World Reading Club podcast to pre-register for the event. You know what? And I'm going to extend that. Actually, I just decided right now that I'm going to do it both on Callin and on Wisdom. I'm going to do two different talks because, sometimes it's a little bit much to ask people to, hey, go over and check out this other social podcasting app, right? Go log on and sign on, even though it's so super easy. And I'm going to be using them both because there are features and functionalities of each one of them that I really, really like. And I also just discovered, Chris,
Well, if you think about it, we both of these are brand new apps, and we're both, on the platforms, and we're involved, and we've been giving feedback to Callin, so this is another way for us to give feedback to Wisdom.
Yeah, and did you know that I didn't know? See, I'm so stupid. I never checked it out. But yesterday, so I was talking to Graciela Moore yesterday. I was talking on. She had a talk yesterday, and she put me onto following her on Twitter and Instagram, and we connected there. And as I was looking for her on Twitter, I rediscovered, because I had discovered before, but rediscovered that there's Twitter Spaces, and it's basically this almost identical. It looks actually more like Callin than this does. But then again, my phone is set to dark, so the app might be using my default app settings. But yeah, man, it's a cool thing. I'm actually going to jump on there after this and check out the Spaces and start putting some talks up there, because there's some really cool features there, Chris, such as a newsletter that you can publish through there through I think it's called Preview or something like that, Prevue. I haven't set it all up yet. You know how things go with us. It's just always a work in progress. So, okay, let me continue here with the World Reading Club. Again, everybody, you can read this for yourself. You don't have to listen to my voice. Again, part of this is creating listenable content for the World Reading Club. Some people are driving or walking or just don't want to read a blog post, even on a cool looking, flashy, crazy, insane, fun news site that I made up called HAKEYM.com for my Hakeem Alexander Communications Exercising Your Mind news. Number, yeah, so you got to like the Instagram post. That's number 2 for World Reading Day. I put World Reading Day in the post, but it should be World Reading Club. But hey, World Reading Day, why not? On UniquilibriuM, just like the name of this talk here on Wisdom, is the same name as my Twitter and my Instagram and my Facebook and my Tumblr and all of that stuff. UniquilibriuM. So they call me Unique, and it's the website, UniquilibriuM.com, which is my SFD. You could call it the science fiction division, even though actually a lot of that stuff I believe works. But so you go to Instagram, on Twitter, follow or like that post and comment, join Plain Sight. Please do that. Even if you're not going to join the World Reading Club Day, please show some support. Let's get the algorithms for that going on Instagram, so that people, because hey, it's about the joy, the love of literacy, people, the joy of learning. We're celebrating the joy of learning by promoting the love of literacy. It's free. You don't even have to buy the book. You can just come to the talk and talk to me, talking about the book with other people. Seriously, you don't have to buy anything. The only thing that it costs is your time. You have to pay attention. That's what I'm looking for. Pay attention. Pay with your time. Give some time, even if it's just awareness, right? And engagement, right? Just like, share, tell your friends about it. And if you want to buy the book, buy the book. Join Plain Sight by Katya Davidova. I guarantee you won't be disappointed. It's a wonderful book. Even in the deepest grief and sadness while I'm crying and stuff like that, when I actually had the book, it's one of the reasons I picked it. I was like, I might as well. And I got the book and started reading it, and I was laughing just by reading the title sections. Just the sections, the section titles, sections of titles. Just reading that, I was having fun. Just the book brightened me up right away from when I started. So, but really, I'm making a call to action, everyone. Please tell your friends. World Reading Club on UniquilibriuM. I didn't actually put a post about it on UniquilibriuM.com. Maybe I should. but it definitely is on HAKEYM.com, the news site, and there'll be some links around here and there. Yes. So,
Have you let the good people?
yeah,
Have you
the
gotten
new
to the
create.
part to letting the good people know what our goal is for the World Reading Club for
Oh, not
our book retention goal?
not yet, but I'm going to get to that, Chris. Thank you for reminding me because I wasn't even thinking about that. But I'm going to speed through the rest of this because it's not really that big of a deal, and then we'll talk about that. So let's look at the World Reading Club. Yes, you create an account on Callin and follow the World Reading Club podcast on Callin. Or, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna schedule a talk for wisdom that I'll do leading up to before I do the one on Callin, I think, and maybe do one after on wisdom because I have a lot more content on Callin. So it'll be a great way to create more content on wisdom by doing a little pre-show on Callin, do it on wisdom and see if I can get some more people over there, or at least talk to people about the book on wisdom there. And then do the Callin one at 9 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time or Eastern Standard Time, whichever one of those designations, those abbreviations you're using. And then maybe after 9, whatever time I end on Callin, maybe I'll do another wisdom one. We'll see, because I can go on and on. All right, let's continue. Number 3, take notes on how joy shows up for you in the everyday. And if you click on the link in number 3 in the HAKEYM, you'll see that it goes to an interaction on LinkedIn that Katya Davidova and I had. She says, Hakeem, I really appreciate you sharing this, Hakeem. Okay, she says, I really appreciate you sharing this, Hakeem. Would be delighted to learn how joy shows up for you in the everyday. And here's the link for others, just in case. And she gave me the link for her book, Joy in Plain Sight, on barnesandnoble.com, and says, and on Amazon too, she said. So Katya Davidova, MSOD, she facilitates joyful, purpose-fueled orgs. That's what she does. It's her job in Los Angeles, California, which is how I first um, found out about Join Plain Sight was um, being launched more recently. I didn't even know when it came out, except when I was on LinkedIn. One of my fitness training clients, who happens to work in marketing, liked the post that Katya Davidova, the author of Join Plain Sight. And when I saw it, and I saw that Katya was really excited in the video that she had of her at the Grove bookstore in Los Angeles. And she went and she's like, oh, I'm so excited. And she had a copy. She went in to go grab a copy of her book, a physical copy of her book off the bookshelves at Barnes and Noble's at the Grove in Los Angeles. And I know that bookstore very well because I used to live very close to there, not too far down the street, like 4 miles from there in Koreatown in Los Angeles. And Floor and I used to go there and spend hours all the time. And then she would force me to go take her shopping at like Top Shelf or whatever that place is called and spend like $400 on clothes for her. But I loved it. But we used to spend much more time and money in Barnes and Noble and that 3-story giant mega Barnes and Noble. So I'm so glad it's still there because I'm going to be going back to California and it's going to be one of my haunts. But yeah, so I saw that and I reposted Katya's excitement on my LinkedIn post, and she thanked me for it, as you just heard what I read. And then, I had more interaction with her. And then Katya and I are actually going to do a talk either on Callin or Wisdom. We haven't decided yet, but I have an interview scheduled with her for 30 minutes on September 6th. And then from there, we're going to go ahead and do probably a public talk because she just wants to straighten some things out before we do it. And I can definitely understand that. But yeah, so we're going to be doing that. And that's going to be like midway, or not even midway, just like 2 weeks into when everybody else starts reading the book. And so I want to just really gain some more attention for that World Reading Club. It's actually a really simple and easy book to read. So if a lot of you out there are not readers in general, do not be intimidated. Joy in Plain Sight is a really cool book. I'm actually going to read an excerpt or two from there just because I'm telling you, it's a really fun book. Mark the date, October 24th, 2022 at 9 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time or Eastern Standard Time on your calendar. So that's when we're going to be doing the first book focus. Where everybody just gets together and have a big old book club reading and discussion party on Callin and Wisdom. And then go to Callin app, or Wisdom app, and bookmark and or download the Callin app and Wisdom app if you who are listening to Wisdom or if you have it. And then open the app or the web page on Callin. You can just open to the webpage on Tuesday, the October 24th, 2022 at 9 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time and listen and or participate. There's I put a nice little QR code, a little quick response code on that page on HAKEYM.com. The link to my Instagram is there too, so all you would have to do is just click on there. So everything's clickable to make it easy for you to participate in the first book focus of World Reading Club. I think that's all I have to say about that for now. Chris is here. He wanted to talk about the books, of the goal that we have. And I'd like to welcome, we got Infius Health, Bobby Vincent, she's still here. Laura, hello. Welcome. I heard Laura speaking a little bit earlier. I was in her room for a little while, creeping. Laura Novisky, hello. Jackie Gandolfo, Philippe Crescent Paul, I'm not good at Howard Falco, MC Stevenson, Eder Lack, Reggie Woodson, Carol, still here, CEO Boss, Chris Wilson, and Ishmael. Thanks for coming by and hanging out and listening. Please do, guys. Hey, let's do a little experiment. Are you guys actually listening? And do you guys really? Please go to HAKEYM.com and just click on the link that talks about go to my Instagram page, and go ahead and it's probably the last. I think it's the last post that I put on my Instagram page. And go ahead and like that post for me. Let me just get a few more likes. I think only 6 people have touched it since I started talking about it. Today's the official launch of the World Reading Club. So I'm going to be going around to people physically. I'm going to be talking to all my friends. When I go to the gym in a little bit here and start training my clients, I'm going to tell all of them that they must go and like the Instagram post and maybe comment with, join Plain Sight or World Reading Club, or else I'm going to make them do extra push-ups. Who knows how I'm going to twist their arms to get them to do that. What do I got to do, guys? What incentives do you need? Oh, you know what I'm going to do? I know what I can do. Who wants a free book? I mean, it's not that expensive. But I'll buy somebody a copy of Joy in Plain Sight. I don't have a lot of money, but I'll do it if that gets me. If I can get one person to read that book in the room with me for World Reading Club, then I'll get you a book. All you have to do is ask me. It's first come, first serve. But you have to have completed all the steps, right? All the steps, which is, you don't have to get the book because I'm going to get that for you, right? But basically,
right, Akeem. This is the whole goal of the World Reading Club, right? So to create awareness and to get it out there and to have it actually be a reading club and to supply books to the members of our World Reading Club. And to just everybody's listening now, listening in the future, and listening in the far off distance of the future. We hope to give these books to you for free so that you can be part of the reading club, and you can even, create those like book stashes out in your neighborhood, or go to a rural part of your
yeah,
your
we're going to do those
state to
kind of
give out
things.
books. And
Yep.
this is of course just long-term goals of ours, and being able to partnership with people like Barnes and Nobles to help get books from them.
Yeah.
We can't always ask for what we want, but when you go into a Barnes and Nobles and you see those, get 10 books for for $5 or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, they're all still good reads. They are sometimes they're from great authors, or they're great,
Well, Barnes and
compendiums
Nobles.
of works,
Yeah.
and or they have a new cover on them, or there's all these
Yeah.
different
Barnes and
things that are
Nobles.
going on there.
Yeah, Chris, Barnes and Nobles, as he's talking about, it just popped in my head, and he said this before, and I wanted to mention it. That's why I'm cutting in here, Chris, is that Barnes and Nobles tends to have these reprints, and they have these Barnes and Nobles classics and things like that you can sometimes get for inexpensive. Sometimes they're more expensive, but they make these really great hardcovers of like the complete Shakespeare or complete Edgar Allan Poe and the Bible and things like that. And some of them are really reasonably priced. I mean, I think that they all, for the fact that they make these wooden covered books with these great gold and silver foil and these other foil color embossings and stuff like that in the books. But yeah, one of the things we're going to do is be able to, because I want, it's the love of literacy, celebrating the joy of learning through the love of literacy. And but taking it back just a little bit, a reading club to me is just anytime 2 or more people get together and they're sharing the same book. So it doesn't have to just, people don't be intimidated. What's a book club, right? Really, it's not a book club. I'm calling it a reading club because I want people to actually read. Look, I could have a book club, and like I have a 5 foot by 10 foot storage unit full of books in Tarzana, California, and ain't nobody reading those books right now. That's a book club. That's a freaking library. As a book club, I have books. I can say, hey, we can go hang out there. We can go to California, and during the opening hours of the storage unit, I've recorded songs in there. They let you do whatever during the day, as long as you're not bothering anybody. We can go sit there and read books, or just sit around the books and drink tea. That's not why I called it World Reading Club. I call it because I want us to actually read it. I know the intention of book club for people to read clubs, but some people use them just to collect books, which is fine because then other people will come to your house or wherever you're at and read your books. But yeah, man, just anytime. Look, if I just had one or two of you, or even just one, or just Chris showed up, and if he's not busy that day, to come to the World Reading Club, I'd be happy. But I think I'm gonna get some more people because Katya's on board, and I'm glad that in 2 weeks from now, I'm gonna be speaking to Katya, and we're gonna set up having either a call-in and or a wisdom talk. So yeah, Chris is the big vision guy. I got a lot of big vision and a lot of really lofty ideals and things I want to do too. Chris is pushing more with the fire he's got, and I'm a facilitator with him. Chris started Veterans Club Racing Association, which is his main initiative that I am now part of. So it's our initiative, and I launched World Reading Club as an initiative, and then Chris joined it as well right away, and so it's our initiative as well. Um, and so we're helping each other out with these things. Veterans Club Racing Association, World Reading Club. They're all intertwined because they're both. And I've been running my own nonprofit for 16 years. I realized that, and not officially on the books as a nonprofit, but I've been paying all of the money for all of my websites and all of my podcasting and all of the hosting services and every single thing that I use to keep my websites on the line for the past 16 years has all been out of pocket. Basically, I've been bootstrapping just to keep information live on the internet and to figure myself out and actually get to a point where I have something uh, influential to say that is also not going to be full of like my charisma, but also be full of character and actually be full of deep insight and knowledge from many different perspectives. And you can see that very clearly on the website exercisingyourmind.com. But if that's a bit much to type in, just go to HAKEYM. HAK is the first 3 letters of my name, Hakeem, and EYM stands for Exercising Your Mind. And so you just go to HAKEYM, and you'll be able to get the links to the World Reading Club, to HakeemAlexander.com, ExercisingYourMind.com. I do my best to make everything interlinked to each other. But now, one day, Chris, myself, and another friend of ours, we were sitting around talking about being on the board of the Veterans Club Racing Association. We got really excited. We were literally dancing to like some really cool Bob Marley remixes and other reggae music, and just talking. And our spirits were high, and we were. And Chris was just like, man, he just grabbed me by the arm and said, what do you say? Like it was like 500,000 books. So we're gonna have 500,000
That's what it
books.
was. 500,000 books. That's right. 500K.
I was like,
Yeah.
yes. And I didn't even skip a beat. I was just like, I looked at him. I was like, this guy's serious. And I feel it. Every time Chris says something that I know that he's passionate about, I'm all on board because he's pushed me to do so many things. Chris has been going through a hard time with some things, and so have I. But when we got together, we really lift each other up, and we've really been mutually supportive of each other. And we've become brothers and good friends. And we've got a lot of things that we're doing, and so much stuff I figured out and progressed forward through just by knowing Chris and from us teaming up and doing things together. And we still have so much work to do, but I really feel good about the direction that everything's going. By the way, Chris, something happened today as I was walking over to Starbucks. Somebody talked to me and pulled me aside. There's a business there, I think in the same building that you were talking about where the office space was that you were looking at, that you were thinking about renting. Um, Whenever we get the resources to do so, from Newsbomb Realty. Um, I was by there. Anyway, we'll talk about that later when I see you. or if you can come around this way, if I make my way around where you are. But or we can just talk later, offline. But yeah, I mean, I'm excited about World Reading Club again. Now I'm going to go to a little part two of this before we go.
Right. So right before you move on, the kind of clarify what we're talking about with the 500,000 books. We're hoping to get 500,000 books donated to be able to thus turn around and have a library of books to be, given out, rented out, turn into, book clubs, turn into, not book clubs, reading clubs, because we want to spread literacy. Um, so if we have, 30 or 40 or a few hundred, of the same book, we can, go to different counties and have, or whatever, a, a standard system of procedures where somebody can call us and say, hey, you know, uh, my daughters and their girlfriends want to read this book. Do you have it? Say, cool, we got 20 copies. Or hey, how many copies do you need? Or hey, me and the boys are trying to read, the new, David Goggins book. Or, hey, do you have any Calvin and Hobbes, funny books? Like we want people to be able to come to us and say, do you have a book? And if we don't have it, we'll find it, or we'll try to find it, and yeah, that's just, we want to spread literacy, and we want to help people like Barnes and Nobles stay open and stay afloat. So being able to help them, donate books and get 100% write-offs for the book so they can get the full profit to keep the company open and afloat allows us to keep having paper bound books. We need paper books until the end of time. So we want to support
Yeah.
companies that support printing books. We want to support the printers that print our books. We want to support authors and publishers. So the World Reading Club is a full circle, direct mutual aid program for not just for literacy. We want to keep literacy alive and keep,
Yep.
printed literacy and printed word alive.
Yeah, the written word, man. You guys know how it's important. How the written word. You guys know how important that is. Sorry, I was a little muffled. Welcome, Ebony. Uh, welcome, Lois, Lori. Let's see. I'm gonna say some last names. Why not? Ebony Dubois, Lois Hampson. Lois is a MFT. Lori Hoover, Greg's Take. Well, I guess it would be Greg, right? At Greg's Take. Sybil Jackson and Cecilia Grace. Um, Joyce, we might have some cool stuff to talk about as well. I mean, a lot of people, you guys know about different things in psychology. I have a degree in clinical hypnosis from America's first nationally accredited college of hypnosis called the Hypnosis Motivation Institute in Tarzana, California. That, interesting enough, trains MFTs and psychologists, physicians, and other people who want to get continuing education units and explore the subconscious mind through the art and science of hypnosis. All right, so I wanted to go on, and one of the things I wanted to do was just to look at some stuff from the book, Joy in Plain Sight. And I was going to end with reading a few things from there, from Katya's book. Like I said, she's got some really cool section titles that are really joy inspiring in themselves. And I might read a little bit from the intro. So let's see if I can pull that up. What's she doing on LinkedIn right now? Oh yeah, there. Oh wait, she said something else about it. A lot of interaction on this. Everyone needs an old paper. That's something different. Oh cool, but she's talking about. Funny. All right, so let's get to the book. Now, before I do that, Chris, is there anything that you wanted to say more about World Reading Club, or any ideas that you have about it, or anything that came to your mind? Hello, uh, Shamariahu, Ruben Schick, and Phantom Electric Ghost.
I mean, no, not necessarily. I feel that it's important and that it's a much bigger um, that it has a much larger impact than just giving books to people in their community and creating literacy awareness. Like with the whole sustainability of trying to keep publishing alive. So yeah, that's it. I think um, it's just something that needs to be done. You know that yeah,
Yes, sir.
you know there's just things that aren't being done. There's things that need to be done, and when there's no misuse and there's no uh
No waste.
yeah, there's no waste, you know, and all the resources get to where they're supposed to go, and you can really change people's lives. And you know,
Yeah,
knowledge is power, and power is the ability to respond to what to life. You know, so let's give everybody that power of knowledge. I think that would create a much freer and better world.
definitely. And you know something that Chris reminded me of when he was talking about keeping the books and the physical books on bookshelves. I actually forget about this because I don't I haven't had very many regular 9 to 5 jobs. I had one when I was 15 at Dunkin' Donuts. I worked for 60 days. I worked at a mailboxes, etc., for a short time, and a Smoothie King. And one of my favorite jobs of all, which I worked for the longest, I think was like 6 months, was a Borders bookstore on Sunrise Boulevard on the Intercoastal, which is not there anymore. They turned it into like a Rite Aid or something like that. But it was a nice 2 story, I think, but it was right on the water. It was a beautiful bookstore, but they closed down. A lot of the Barnes and Noble, I saw a lot of bookstores. Even some of the Barnes and Noble's locations started to close down, and I thought that they were going to. But fortunately, they stayed around. But you know what happened to them happened to a lot of the smaller family-owned and so-called mom and pop bookstores because Barnes and Nobles and Borders and other big box retailers were able to buy books in bulk and get them at really, really steep discounts and then resell them. Whereas smaller bookstores and privately held um, and small businesses were not able to compete, and so they had to close because they were getting books at, let's say, 70% of retail, whereas Barnes and Noble was getting something like
Right. Yeah.
25 or
Well,
30.
right. That was like 25 years ago, though. So what you're saying is that now things are more on Kindles and more things are more online, and you know, and books
Well,
are
no, just
books are phasing out.
well, yeah, they are in some ways, but yeah, but just to what you were saying, just to the fact of supporting the bookstores themselves. Yeah, you can buy Katya's book on, on the Nook, which is Barnes and Noble's reader. But also, there are a fair amount of people, I'm one of them, who actually still like physical books. And if you still want to see bookstores stay alive, just like Chris was talking about earlier, and there's a need for physical books, think about, anyway, there's so many reasons why we should have physical books. And, and one of them is supporting something like the World Reading Club. And you never know what could happen with partnerships in the future. There are other things that I have in mind with Barnes and Nobles that will actually help the sustainability of the bookstores. Welcome, Marcella, Aries, and Michael J. And yes, welcome to the World Reading Club. Today's the official launch, so everybody cheer to yourself, say yay, clap your hands, and today is the official launch of the World Reading Club, the first World Reading Club. It's going to go for the first 60 days of the World Reading Club will be from August 23rd, 2022. That's today. And we will be doing the first book focus. Sorry about that. We've had time to read. Wow, that's interesting. Hey, that's cool. This app put me on pause and somebody tried to call my phone. All right. So yes. Um, and so you've had time to read the book on October 24th. Then we'll be all gathering on these social podcasting apps like Wisdom and Callin. The one I officially set for Callin was 9 p.m. on October 24th, 2022. That's Eastern Daylight or Eastern Standard Time. I'm also going to do one here on Wisdom before, leading up to that, and just give like 30 minutes before I jump onto that. So I might do something maybe from like 7:30 to 8:30 to get people warmed up and see if I can bring some of you guys over to Callin, or I'll do that one and then do the call and maybe do another one. I just want to really celebrate World Reading Club. The dates are also very important to me. I'm celebrating life. I'm celebrating the joy of life and the joy of learning through the love of literacy. And that's why the first book that we're going to be focusing on is Joy in Plain Sight by Katya Davidova. and she may show up on the shows as well, or at least I definitely know that at some point in time, at the very least going to have a recorded interview with her, either from here or on Callin, and there are bound to be people showing up live, unless she just wants to do a private recording undisturbed. We'll see, but we're going to figure it out. I'm going to talk to her in 2 weeks on the phone, and then we're going to work all those details out. And I'm pretty convincing sometimes, and we all have good intentions here. So I'm sure Katya's going to be on board. She's a very nice lady. She wrote a book called Joy in Plain Sight, and it's a great book. It makes me laugh. It makes me feel better when I read it. So let's take a look at that. Joy in Plain Sight. Stories and essays celebrating wonder in the ordinary. Katya Davido. All right, guys, you ready? You got your tea, you got your coffee, iced or hot, your orange juice, your sandwich, your cookies, and milk, or whatever you're going to be chomping on as you kick back and just listen to a little bit. I'm going to slow down to my narrator voice, and try to fight the coffee that I've been drinking, cold brew. And let's see if I can tone it down here a little bit. All right. Now, oh, this is great. I remember this. Appreciate everything, even the ordinary, especially the ordinary. Pema Chodron. That's a quote in the front of the book. Contents. Introduction. So these names will make you giggle. They'll bring a little bit of joy to you. Lemonade. Welcome to the neighborhood. Laughter yoga. Los Lavaderos, the laundromat. An ode to Aldi. Aldi, by the way, you guys, it's a grocery store out here in Virginia Beach, in Virginia. Driving rich. On carrying things atop our heads. Cat lessons. Underwear. The constellations on our skin. You know, when I first read just now, underwear, and the first time I read it in the table of contents, was I had a vision of somebody standing in their tidy whities being embarrassed, like if they were in a dream. You know how people talk about how people get embarrassed in their dreams of being naked or being in their underwear? I don't know why that popped in my head. The next one is the constellations on our skin. Your silence is fullness. Extreme Hawaiian aloha. Hey, Chris, by the sound of that, can you tell what kind of car that was? It was
Oh, you actually asking me? It was probably some Navy guy, a
yeah,
Mustang with some exhaust, coyote. Let me not get into it. I love my military folks, but boy, oh boy,
yeah.
when they quit making
Well,
the Challenger and
Chris,
the Charger 3 days ago, they were crying.
yeah. Well, you're close because it's the same company. No, actually, no. Charger is Challenger are from Dodge, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. This car,
yeah, Mustang's Ford.
yeah, that one was a Corvette, actually, a Chevy Corvette. So, I don't know what he had think on that car. The constellations on our skin. Your silence is fullness. Extreme Hawaiian aloha. The next one is waving through traffic. On finding joy when you're tired of looking. Washing dishes. Grounded in time. The sound of silence. Sewing and sewing. One with an E and one with an O, right? So stitching and planting. That's great. So that's the intro. Those are the section titles for the book Joy in Plain Sight by Katya Davidola that we'll be doing our first book focus on October 24th. So you all have time to please go to the UniquilibriuM Instagram. I'm talking to you, Phantom, Todd, Lisa, Noble Ron. What's up, Noble Ron's in the room? Michael J, Aries, Marcella, Shamari, Yahoo, Ruben Schick. You gotta have to tell me how to pronounce your name, Shamari Yahoo, Ruben Schick, Cecilia Grace, Sybil Jackson, Greg, Lori, Lois, Ebony Dubois, Infius Health, Bobby Vincent, Laura Novisky, Jackie, Philippe Howard, MT, Eder, Reggie, Chris, Carolyn, I'm reading the list. CEO boss, Chris Wilson, and Ishmael. Yes, folks, please come on through to the Instagram and like the post. Joy in Plain Sight, a World Reading Club, to get those algorithms going so people can pay attention to this and so that we can all celebrate the joy of learning through the love of literacy. All right, let's look at the introduction, and I think I'm going to wrap it up soon too because I got other stuff I need to do. I have clients at the gym soon and some other stuff I was supposed to do. Somebody stopped me on the way here and talked to me with like a business proposal for the security thing, and so I'm just like, all right, and I'm considering it because I've had some pretty interesting things happen lately. All right, this introduction is really good, but I'm not going to read the whole introduction. Um, the introduction is grand, it's great, but I just want you to hear how great of a writer she is, because you'll be able to hear that even though my reading might not do it any justice at all. She's a phenomenal writer, just the style that she writes in. So you all are in for a little treat. Welcome, Yehuda and Liz, to the room as we go into the introduction of Joy in Plain Sight, which is the first book focus of the World Reading Club, which launches today, August 23rd, 2022. So let's take a look. It is the introduction. All right. We should have been dead, really. A grotesque, a grotesque meet cute of two cars barreling down a tar ribbon at precisely the stated speed limit, concluding in a violent kiss of twisted metal. Head-on collisions usually end up in one of two ways: death or near death. When the passengers of both cars, my dear friend and I and the other gentleman, walked out of the wreckage, we were the lucky ones. Despite months-long rehab and hobbling around with a slight grimace, I bounced back. My bone bruises healed, and new scars made their home on my body. The remaining smolder was the nightly replay of the microseconds before the crash, a dark lullaby before turbulent sleep. For some, towing the line with death can be a beautiful, meaningful, transformative experience, an opportunity to begin anew and shed all the built-up bullshit that once mattered so much. For me, survival was more a matter of fact. The crash happened on a Saturday morning in September of my senior year of college. By Sunday, these thoughts raced through my head. Great, Katya. We see you're still here. Congratulations. Now you've got applications due next week, your thesis review in 2 months. And oh, you're still going to limp a few miles across campus to lead that group meeting tomorrow, right? Don't get me wrong, I was delighted I was still here. Part of my human makeup was, and still is, I was generally happy to be alive. In high school, I joined the Optimists Club and was known for being a walking smiley face brimming with silver lining. And I had so much to be thankful for. When I was 7, my parents had won a green card visa lottery to emigrate from Uzbekistan to pursue the American dream. Every year, the U.S. Department of State chooses 55,000 people from millions of citizens in underrepresented countries to apply for residency. We were 3 of the lucky ones. As an only child, I was flying on the wings of hope, soaring from my parents' sacrifices to the faraway lands of a better life. And so I became good at being good. It's what was expected of me. Perhaps you know someone with a similar thread. Perhaps you know it yourself. Over time, with the accolades came perfectionism and the need to continually strive, imposed by external expectations, but more viciously by me. All right, so that's a little piece of the intro to Joy in Plain Sight by Katya Davidova, which is the book focus, the first book focus that we'll be having on October 24th of 2022. That's just 60 days from now. So get your copy of Joy in Plain Sight by Katya Davidova and start reading it. You've got 60 days, but don't put it off. Head on over to the UniquilibriuM Instagram, please, and like the post. That is Joy in Plain Sight World Reading Club. And mark your calendars for October 24th, 2022. I'm going to be checking in frequently in the World Reading Club podcast app on Callin, and also here on Wisdom, because I've got 60 days and stuff is going to pop into my head as I'm reading this book for the second and third time. And I'm going to have stuff I want to say about it. So that's how I'm going to continue to promote and bring awareness to that book so that people can get it and start reading it and join up for the World Reading Club's first book focus on October 24th, 2022. What's up, Chris? You popped in for a second. Looked like you were going to put in some 2 or 3 cents for a
Uh,
second. But yeah, folks.
I mean, yeah. I was just gonna say, I think it's a great intro to a book, and clearly there's some merit behind what she's writing here because somebody as somebody who's experienced what I'm about to say, and she can relate, and think a lot of other people can relate as well. Um, is that sometimes it takes a near death experience to have a near life experience these days. And it kind of woke her up, right? Like, oh, football's not important, soccer's not important, the radio was not important, this reality TV is not important, or whatever, And of course, like you said, she's still very grateful and just was doing things, going to school and going to work. But um, yeah, I'm not assuming what her book says and whatever else, but it's just, sometimes it takes having a near death experience to have, like that near life experience,
Yeah.
that waking and that awakening in yourself.
Yeah, it definitely happens with some people. So, all right. That's about it. Unless anybody wants to come and talk to me or ask a question about it, I got a few of you here in the room. I'm gonna cut it off. I want to see if I can get 33, my lucky number 33 here. But yes, the Joy in Plain Sight is the first book focus of the World Reading Club starting today. And I'll be doing it every year, will be the official birthday of the joy, yes, the joy of learning, celebrating the joy of learning through the love of literacy. And I'll be coming back to every year. What I want to do is have 60-day book reading um, book reading sessions that everybody will be reading to lead up to the book focus. And then we'll take probably, a month off where we'll just be gathering to still talk about the other book and start choosing what the next one will be. So there will be 4 books a year. I know that's not a lot, right? But, we're going to want to gather a bunch of people online. That's at least the first. It may go more because what it is, right, we're going to start August 23rd to October 24th. And then take off time after that because you got Halloween coming up after that, and then you have the whole month of November, which is Thanksgiving and all that stuff. And then it'll give us time to maybe start in December and have December and through the New Year, so that we start that we get together again by the end of January to read the second book. So we'll see. I mean, there's going to be a lot of other stuff in between. We're going to read some small pamphlets and things like that here and there. 33 in the room, lucky number 33. Welcome, Rick Del Santo. And so, and there'll be little things like, for example, I have a little poetry chapbook that I published on August 23rd of 2020. You can get that for free. I will post that. Also, it's on HAKEYM.com. It's also on HakeemAlexander.com. It's called Hypnotic Wax. It's on a couple of sites. It's on FloorCarrasco.com, Hakeem Alexander, because I did it in memoriam of the lovely Floor Elizabeth Carrasco. And so you can find that book. It's really dark. So just a heads up, everybody. It's a dark book full of haikus that I started writing from back in 2012. So it goes back 10 years and goes up to about 2019. And then I wrote a few others, in honor of Floor. And I put the book out. But like I said, it's a dark roller coaster of like what my insides were like as the time goes on. And you can actually see it changed a lot after I met Floor in 2015. And then it went to crap again in 2019 for a while. But I didn't do a lot between then. And I finally just started getting back in the saddle. I got back to the United States on September 4th of 2021 at a gym, and started working at a gym on September 11th there. and finally got back to being a personal trainer in March of this year. And I've been getting back on track ever since then. I'm still charging forward and working hard to make things happen. And one of the things I'm doing is the World Reading Club. Besides other things, besides working with Chris on Veterans Club Racing Association and attempting to build my business, UniquilibriuM, and my fitness training and health in general. So, and if you guys want something to read, in the meantime, also, if you finish reading Katya Davidova's book really early, we've got, I'm going to put some links to my little poetry. It's a haiku chat book called Hypnotic Wax. And I'm going to do my best to republish a book I published in 2005. It was a self-published, another haiku chat book called Serena Wears Black. That one was very lovely. It was a very cool book. I wrote one haiku a day for, I don't remember how long it was. And then I have a crappy thing that I wrote when I was in China called the Dynamic Audiolingual Method to teach English. Anyway, but I would really like to author some really good books like Joy in Plain Sight, which inspired me. I like her writing style, so I'm gonna actually use that as a model for writing my first book of prose, or at least literature or some nonfiction, something maybe for my thesis, for my PhD in metaphysics. I don't know, but I like that style. I like how she writes, and it was just re-inspiring, and it's going to take me into another level of something that I haven't done before. So, all right. Once again, I want to encourage, if you're listening, ooh, that's a cool name. Is it Sharenti Carr? Welcome. And there is, yes, I want to encourage everybody again. So you can see the name of my show here is called UniquilibriuM. And you can simply take a look on Instagram and find UniquilibriuM. There's a post I made about World Reading Club. You can see it's yellow. It's got a bunch of books. It says World Reading Club right on it. Go ahead and like that post. And maybe make a comment that says World Reading Club or Joy in Plain Sight, so I know that you're interested in the book and that maybe you're going to buy it and read with and discuss the book on the first book focus on October 24th at 9 p.m. And on Callin and Wisdom. So I'm going to be doing two. I decided a little while ago while I was talking to you that I'm going to do a book focus on Wisdom, and then at 9 p.m. do one on Callin, and maybe again come back to Wisdom. But I want to fill Wisdom up with some more talks, so we're going to be doing that. And I'm going to hop off again. I'm going to explore what they've got going on over there on Twitter Spaces. Who's been on Twitter Spaces? I know that she's not in the room right now, but I know that Grace Moore, Graciela Moore, she turned me on to that inadvertently when we connected with each other on Instagram and Twitter. So any space that I get to create content in this very simple and easy interface that just makes it so easy to get up and started, I will take advantage of. So let me see if there might be something fun. Let's take a look. Yes. Let me read a little bit more from her. Yeah, I like what she had. I'll read a little bit more from the introduction, and then I'm for sure going to go because it's just time. All right, let's look. So the last thing I was saying, she said, as an only child, I was flying on the wings of hope, soaring from my parents' sacrifices to the faraway lands of a better life. And so I became good at being good. It's what was expected of me. Perhaps you know someone with a similar thread. Perhaps you know it yourself. Over time, with the accolades came perfectionism and the need to continually strive, imposed by external expectations, but more viciously by me. I remember sobbing in the dim staircase of our home one night during junior year. My head burned from trying and failing to understand physics problems in the textbooks and worksheets scattered all over the living room table. Let's run a few more practice problems before your test tomorrow, and you should really get some sleep, Katya, my mom soothed, pointing to my room upstairs. It was close to 1 a.m., but I had to keep going. I graduated from my magnet high school with straight A's, except for that one C plus in physics. Ironically, The only equation that stuck was F equals ma. For those who don't know, I know this one. It's force equals mass times acceleration. The more effort and energy I put into school, the better and faster the outcomes. There was no emergency brake. So the norm was to continue to apply force like that jet. That jet uses Newton's third law, right? For every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. Thrust goes out the back, which is jet force. Okay, let me stop. That's the third law. F equals ma, by the way, is Newton's second law of motion, and the first one is inertia. Okay, I'm stopping geeking out for now. The more effort and energy I put into school, the better and faster the outcomes. There was no emergency brake. So the norm was to continue to apply force and watch my world speed up through a double major and a minor in college. Study the psychology and cognitive science of human behavior and excel there too. Continue achieving through more late nights, brimming with research and leadership and sports, and graduate with highest excellence as conferred by others. Feel the force of a near fatal car crash during the last year of university, yet continue accelerating because that's what the equations state. On graduation day, my mother hugged me after I waded through the sea of faces, diploma in hand. You did it. Aren't you proud of yourself, she asked. I mean, yeah, I said, checking my phone to see what was on the docket for the rest of the day. Well, of course you did it. You had to. Later that day at our family celebratory dinner, she handed me a symbolic gift. Chris, this one's for you, man. This one's for you, Chris. Later that day at our family celebratory dinner, she handed me a symbolic gift, a compass. But what are you doing next? This last question remained a theme throughout my 20s. My goal was to find the next tallest branch in the tree of life, over-prepare, and jump to catch it. Remember, I heard over and over again, there's always a higher branch, and you have to keep climbing. As my career blossomed, I jumped from branch to branch with ease. When my first adult job in healthcare consulting became unbearably boring, with many of my 20-something coworkers plotting our escape from the corporate cubicle farm, I switched cities. 100 miles south of the nation's bustling capital, I dashed from my day job in higher education to an hour-long workout to leading my local Toastmasters club to grabbing a Tuesday night special at my favorite beer joint, an opportunity to observe and write about solitary regulars and boisterous newcomers. Back at home, after 14 hours away, I drink in a nightcap of discourses on organizational development for grad school. Do you ever take a break? My friend asked. It was our monthly phone call, and I'd specifically planned it for one of my long runs that week. I can't really. There's just too much to do. The same month I finished grad school, I gave my 2 weeks notice at work and began preparing for a cross-country move to Los Angeles. While I loved the cohesive community in my cozy mountain town, I craved newness, adventure, speed. All right, that's going to be it for that little read-through of her introduction. If you want more, please get the book Joy in Plain Sight by Katya Davidova. Katya Davidova, you can get it on barnesandnobles.com. You can get it in Barnes & Noble's booksellers, and you can get it on Amazon. Today is the launch of the first book focus of World Reading Club. Actually, it's the lead up, so it's the launch of the World Reading Club, and the first book focus of the World Reading Club will be on October 24th at 9 p.m. Eastern Daylight or Eastern Standard Time. And that's where we'll get together on these wonderful rooms and spaces and discuss what we've learned in the book and discuss the things, discuss how joy showed up in our individual lives. That's really good, what we're going to talk about. That's going to be the theme of the first book focus, is talking about and discussing how joy has shown up in our lives. Because that's the question. That's the first question that Katya ever asked me when we made contact. She asked me the question, she's like, tell me how joy shows up for you in the everyday. So everybody think about that as you read the book. How does joy show up for you in the everyday? And we're going to talk about that in the first book focus. It's going to be one of the focuses of the book focus. And think about that. And even think about that as a theme as we finish up this talk and you go throughout the rest of your day and tomorrow and the rest of the days that follow. Ask yourself the question, how does joy show up for you in the everyday? Does joy show up for you in the everyday? And if you don't feel like joy is showing up for you in the everyday, let's maybe start to explore how joy can show up for us in the everyday. I know that it hasn't always shown up for me in my everydays, and I know that there have been days where it's felt like there was the complete opposite of joy, and all I wanted was an end to everything all, and just to go into a long, big sleep of death. And so a book like this that brings so much joy to me, and I'm celebrating the life of someone else who has brought enormous, endless amounts of joy to me. We launch World Reading Club here on August 23rd, 2022. Remember to go to the Instagram, UniquilibriuM, and like the post about World Reading Club. You can find more information about how to join the World Reading Club at hakeym.com. There's a post about it there. And follow me on, you don't even have to follow me on Instagram. Just like the post about World Reading Club, and maybe even make a comment that says joy in plain sight or World Reading Club. And then follow on Callin, or if you haven't already followed me along here on Wisdom, please do that, because on October 24th, 2022, we're going to launch the first book focus for Joy in Plain Sight by Katya Davidov. That's everybody. Thanks for joining me. I see I have here James Quirk, Alicia Marie, Reggie Wood, Lois, everybody, you're still here. Thanks. And I will catch you all on the next wave. Hopefully we'll see you soon in more World Reading Club adventures. Stay well.